The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the Sports Guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. A cloudy day here in Southern California. Not cloudy in the BS Report, though. We have two basketball players. Coming up in a little bit, Nick Collison from Oklahoma City. But now, on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline, the guy that we need to get into the All-Star game. The guy who might be a numbers issue. The guy who would be a travesty if he didn't make it, because he's having one of the best rebounding seasons in 30 years. He's on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline right now. Kevin Love, what's happening?
What's going on? 22-degree weather. Not too bad out here in Minneapolis.
It's a heat wave.
It is a heat wave. Shoot, last week it was, 22 below, so a little bit of a heat wave. Not too bad.
Yeah, we're taping this on a Wednesday, and you play the Oklahoma City team tonight. Kevin Durant. Should be exciting.
Very exciting. Always fun going against a former Bruin in Russell Westbrook, and obviously world championship teammate in Kevin Durant. They got a great young team. Always fun going against them.
Have you played them yet? You have, right? Yeah, you played them once.
We have. No, we played them twice. We played them once at their place, once at our place, but both times. Story of our season. We had, both times had leads going into the fourth quarter, and kind of lost them both. But that's kind of been the story of our season, like I said.
Everybody's trying to figure out this all-star team thing. And I know you got to do the whole thing about, no, the team's the most important thing, all that stuff. But at the same time, it'd be fun to be in the all-star game. And it looks like there's 13 players for 12 spots or 14 players for 12 spots. I can't figure it out. You're going to be in L.A. regardless, right? I mean, worst-case scenario, you can sit with me.
Oh, I mean, that's absolute worst-case scenario. No, like you said, there's a tremendous amount of love for, 14 or 15 players out of the West. Obviously, like you said, only 12 can make it. So, I'll be in L.A. regardless, like you said. I'll be out there, spreading my break out there. I'll be around, all the festivities that are going on. Obviously, I want to see, the dunk contest, the skills competition, three-point, that sort of thing. And, I'll probably stick around for the game as well. But then, there's some appearances that I can do. And, a lot of family I can see out there as well. So regardless, whether I make it or not, I'll be out there. But it would be a tremendous honor to be out there playing in that game. And, I feel like, my play has been up to all-star level. It's just, with the team having 10 wins, I'm hoping that the coaches, get past that for somebody like me.
Well, as I told you, you can't lose, because if you don't make it, everybody's going to go crazy that you got snubbed, and you'll almost get more attention for not making it. I mean, it'll suck not to be able to play in the game, but I think either way you win. So look at it that way.
That's a good point. Shoot, like I said, tremendous honor if I make it. If not, you can. I'm gonna look at you to start that Kevin Love. Why didn't you make it club? So.
I'm gonna start it. I'll do it on Twitter.
Awesome.
I wrote a column last week saying that I feel the All-Star Game has been pretty disappointing in the last few years, and partly because the talent hasn't been at the level that it is this year, but also it's so buddy now, and the guys really only try the last 4 minutes. This year it feels like, with all the different stuff going on between the teams and LeBron and Wade going to Miami and the way that kind of energized the league, and then the talent on both sides, I actually think this could be a really good game. You agree or disagree?
No, I'm 100% in agreement with you. I like, kind of how the East has balanced everything out and is being, ultra competitive with the West. So I think that, in reading your column, who were the players back in the day that didn't make the All-Star team? I think, even this year, even more so, there's guys right there that, have the ability to make the team in the West and even in the East as well. So it's going to be, I think, like you said, a game for the ages, or at least, whether I'm playing in it or on the viewing end, I'm hoping that it's going to be a great game, because I'm always a big fan of the All-Star game.
How are you feeling about the T-Wolves season? As you said, you only have 10 wins, but you're not really a 10-win team. I mean, I've seen almost. I think I've seen half the league in person, but I watch all these games on TV. You guys are the one team that it doesn't feel like the record represents what the team is. No,
not at all. I think, who was I talking to? It was one of the Portland assistants. I had seen him out the night before in Minneapolis. He said, you guys are the best 3.5 quarter team in the league, maybe ever. I mean, that's just, like I said, the story of our season, talking back to my comments about Oklahoma City earlier. We've had so many games where we've had, I think it's up to 11 now, where we've had double-digit fourth-quarter leads and we've lost them. So it's just a part of, our youth, us, growing as a team, turning the corner. And I remember, mentioning in my GQ blog that I have to plug now that I was kind of talking trash at you, saying we're going to win 30 games this year, but now we have to go 20 and 17, 20 and 18, depending on how many games we've played, and that's going to be very tough to do. But we are a lot better team than our record kind of portrays. But we just go out there every night, we compete. And we're just looking, like I said, to turn that corner because we are such a young team, and we're only going to continue to grow from here on out. But getting back to Oklahoma City, too, and a team like Memphis and a team like Atlanta, we look at, kind of what they have done in the past, 4, 5, and 6 years and how they've grown as a team through growing pains as a very young team and, gotten older, added talent, signed a lot of big-time free agents, and, kind of every year in the playoffs, maybe with the exception of, Memphis.
The one thing that I've noticed with you guys that you don't have is, I don't want to say you don't have it, but it just hasn't materialized totally yet, is in the last 2 minutes, close game, you mentioned Atlanta. They'll go to Joe Johnson. They know he can create a shot. Oklahoma City can go to Durant or Westbrook. You guys, it's kind of when things really slow down, it's like, all right, somebody's got to make a play. You got young point guards or you got Ridnour. You have, basically, it seems like you go to Beasley if he's feeling it. Long range, looking down, next year, 2 years, 3 years, who's going to be that guy who becomes the creator in the last 2 minutes?
Well, that's tough to say. It might be somebody that, we sign off for free agency, somebody who we draft. It might be, Mike Beasley. People forget that, Mike Beasley just turned 22 years old and, is coming into a situation where, he's one of our prominent go-to scorers. So, that it could be him.
I agree. I think it could be him too. But
looking at things, we have guys that obviously can create shots for others, but at the end of the day, have a go-to guy that at the end of the game we look at and say, okay, the ball is going to him. Everybody else, whether it's spotting up, whether it's me crashing the glass, you guys do your part, and he's going to create for us, off the dribble or getting into the lane or getting a shot for himself. I mean, no matter what it is, I don't think we, like you mentioned, necessarily have that yet. Even though Michael Beasley, I believe, really can kind of mature into that. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's a maturation process, and guys have to learn to do that. I mean, like anything, it's a process.
I have a Beasley question for you. So occasionally he'll be at the foul line when the other team's shooting free throws.
Yeah.
And he's just talking, and it doesn't seem like he's talking to anybody. Who is he talking to?
You never know with Beasley. You never know.
Is it a conversation with himself?
In the locker room, in the bus, whether it's before practice, after practice, whether it's at his house, whether it's in his car, no matter what, he's running his mouth, and it can be about anything, any topic he has an opinion about, and he wants to talk about. So he's I guess you could say he's pretty eccentric. He's a different type of dude, but everybody gets along with him. But I have no idea who he's talking to on the free throw line. I'm standing most of the time. I'm standing right across from him. So
do the guys in the other team? They kind of look around like, is he talking to you? Who's he? Is it me? And then he's just going.
Oh, that's the question I'm asking. I'm saying,
yeah,
talking to you. Is he? Sometimes I don't even know, but that's, you just shake your head and say, hey, that's just Mike.
We might have to mic him. We might have to have NBA Entertainment just mic him for 3 games, just to kind of figure out what's going on. I saw you guys last week. You played the Clippers. and you got into foul trouble, I think, within 5 minutes, and the team just completely fell apart. It was one of those games. Blake, I know Blake might end up being your competition for that last All-Star forward spot, unless we can cripple Nowitzki before then. But you going against Blake, did you ever think he was going to be this good?
Going against Blake, I remember seeing him in high school and thinking to myself, wow, this kid could be very, very good. I take all the credit in the world for, calling the Russell Westbrook thing, but I give love to Santa Clara head coach now, Kerry Keating, who recruited him to UCLA too. But, looking at Blake, I could always tell in the McDonald's All-American game, he was, getting subbed in, subbed out after, 2-3 minutes, and you could kind of see and you can ask him about this too, you could kind of see, he was angry, and he was like, I'm just as good, if not better than these guys. And, he just wanted a shot to show what he could do. He actually won the McDonald's dunk competition that year. But I just remember seeing, a kid that was so hungry and wanted to be great. And I think, that's kind of, showing through now that he wants to be great. And, night in and night out, he's, it's scary sometimes. I know that you have talked about this before, that he plays so hard on every play that you're almost worried he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So but he's the type of player, you can tell in his work ethic on and off the court and his demeanor that he wants to be great, and I think that showed through at an early age. So I could say, in a way, I didn't know he'd be this good this early, but you could see that he had all the tools and the work ethic to be great.
When it gets scary with him is if he gets a dunk and he gets excited about the dunk, and then the next 3 minutes after that dunk is when it really becomes scary, because he just doesn't care at that point. He'll jump over 9 guys. He'll go into traffic, anything. He's just fearless. And that's when I get scared.
And most of the time he's jumping over 9 of them, but we're worried about the time that he gets to 8.5, right?
Right. Well, the one thing about your generation is all these young guys, you guys all play hard. I watch Westbrook. Westbrook plays hard. Westbrook doesn't take quarters off. He's always going full speed. Griffin, same way. Derrick Rose just has the eye of the tiger this season. When you think the last generation, I don't want to call out names, but Kenny Anderson, Derek Coleman, guys like that, these are guys that got paid and they just kind of cruised through the decade and turned it on and off, had a little bit of an on-off switch. Why does your generation not have that on-off switch? I
feel like a lot of the guys, in our situation, I almost feel like they're thinking to themselves, What legacy am I going to leave? What stamp am I going to leave on the NBA? What do I want to be remembered for? At least, for me, and I know a guy like Russell Westbrook, that's definitely the case. I know that, like I said, like Blake, he came from, a situation where he was, top 75, top 50 in the class, in our, 2007 high school class. Russell Westbrook was basically unrecruited out of high school. Obviously, Derrick Rose was always at the top, but you just have a different, slew of guys that come from different backgrounds that want to be, exceptional. They're not okay with just being, good players. They want to be great. So I think that's, kind of what sets our generation or, our, past few draft classes ahead of everybody else.
And Durant, too, and Eric Gordon. All these guys play hard. I can't think of, I guess Beasley would be the best example of somebody who definitely is streaky. But even him, I watch him, and when he kind of checks out of the game, it seems like it's more because he's not getting the ball and he's frustrated. I feel like he cares.
No, he definitely does care. I mean, everybody, like I said, everybody from kind of our high school class or the class before us, like you mentioned, Kevin Durant, guys like Eric Gordon, they're not. You mentioned taking quarters off. Shoot, they're not even taking plays off most of them. So, I mean, that's what makes a special player. The ability, 82 games plus, whether it's preseason, whether it's the playoffs, 82 games plus, day in and day out, going as hard as they possibly can, and I think that's what makes a true professional, and also, being consistent out there on the court, and you're kind of seeing all those guys do that.
I watched an Oklahoma City practice, and those guys were playing so hard in practice. I was asking people, do they always play like this? And they're like, yeah. It's Westbrook and Durant. They just set the tone. So I guess it's just a day-to-day thing. One of the things that's funny about you is you have clicked with the old fart generation. People like my dad, who saw you in person a couple weeks ago, and I emailed you this, but he was like, oh, that Kevin Love, he's like Jerry Lucas. Goes after every rebound. I love it. Are you hearing from a lot of the old farts who think you're like a throwback?
Oh, I've heard that. I've heard that my whole career. They always want to, kind of dab me as a throwback because I'm the guy that doesn't have the 40-inch vertical, or the guy that doesn't have the 7'5" wingspan or that sort. But yeah, I guess you could say, I'm a throwback. I'm the kid that would wake up, watch the Larry Bird tapes with Kevin McHale and Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge and all those players. You got the Bad Boy Pistons and the Showtime Lakers, those type of guys. So I guess, yeah, you could say I am a throwback in that regard because of my skill set and how I play. But do I want to be recognized as a throwback? I mean, maybe to the old goobers, like you said, but, to me, I think more than anything, that's just a compliment that my game now, it still works in today's age.
I forgot to ask you one thing about your generation, because it seems like, we talked about this the last time a little bit in the podcast, because you've been playing against some of these guys since you were like 15, 16. And you kind of know who the talents are, who maybe the guys who are overrated are, the guys who are underrated, et cetera, et cetera. Is there a guy from that, your generation, that you feel like he hasn't broken out yet, but he's going to?
Ooh, you'd have to give me time on that. A guy that hasn't broken out but has the ability to.
Well, like when you guys got Beasley this summer, you told me, listen, I played with this guy. I've been playing against this guy for 4 or 5 years. This guy is talented. Like, I know this guy has talent. Is there another guy like that you see?
I've always felt like, I guess my guy Jared Bayless, who's now up in Toronto, I always felt like he had the chance to break out because he's the type of guy too that has the mentality that we all have, that they want to be great. They aren't going to take no for an answer, and yeah. I still feel like he has the ability and the chance to be a very good player in this league. So I think that's kind of the first name that comes to mind. I'm always still anxious to see how he's going to do and when he's going to break out, because he just has a different type of demeanor to him that we our generation kind of all has, that he plays hard every single play, and like I said, he's just not going to take no for an answer. He's going to go out there and try to get the job done. So he's just waiting for the right opportunity and a chance to break out. I think Jared's right up there with a lot of other guys in our class, because he was right up there in high school. Yeah, with the best players. So I think he's right there among a few others, but you'd have to give me time on that answer.
Well, what about O.J. Mayo?
OJ too. I think he's in a tough situation now. I have empathy for him because I came off the bench last year for a majority of the season, and now he's having to work with that and learn how to have a big impact with coming off the bench, because it's different. You have to sit there, get cold and kind of see how the flow of the game is, and there's different things that go with coming off the bench. But I think he's gonna end up getting another opportunity somewhere else, and hopefully, in OJ's case, he'll take advantage of it.
See, I'm scared of Chicago getting him. I don't want Chicago to steal him for like 60 cents in the dollar and throw him with Derrick Rose, and then all of a sudden OJ Mayo is the guy who we thought he was going to be, and people are like, wow, I can't believe they stole OJ Mayo. That's my worst fear as a Celtic fan. I'd like to see him go to your team. I mean, I know you can't talk about potential trades for other teams, but I think he needs a fresh start on a team that will actually let him do the things that he does. I don't feel like he's doing that in Memphis.
Right. Obviously, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but I think with OJ to have a little bit more in his hands, I think that he'll take full advantage of it, and with that opportunity, I think he'll kill it.
Did you just go cliche on me?
What's that?
Grass is always greener. That was impressive.
I did. I appreciate that. I used some of your words.
Don't think that I haven't noticed that you've been kind of a talk radio and TV show. You've been available.
On it. Hey, you stepped up and you did color this year. So
I know.
I'm just trying to get on your level. By the way, it was very, very good. I appreciated it.
Thank you.
Very much so. Yes.
It was really fun. I think the thing that I was most surprised by was how the seat isn't as good as you'd think it would be. Like, sitting that close, it's really kind of hard to tell what's going on. Like, how do you guys, even when you're sitting on the bench, like, it's not a great view of the game. You're crammed in between all these other guys, and you're looking at the game on an angle. Can you even, like, pick up stuff when you're sitting there?
No, most of the time I'm crammed in between, like, Bill Lambier.
Oh, no.
And Darko. So I'm in a tough seat. So most of the time I can't really, see what's going on too much of the time.
What is I've always said that you were Lambier 2.0, and you've actually exceeded that prediction. But has he had any kind of an impact on the player that you became this year?
Oh, I think from a mentality standpoint, I mean, the guy if anybody knows how to approach a game, it's him. I mean, he's always, serious, bringing it every single day. Even in practice, he's like, go hit him. He'll tell you every single day that, he wants you to go, 110%. This is how the old days were. This is how we practiced. And, you're never going to get a day off because we don't want you expecting one and that sort of thing. He's very, as much as they say I have a throwback game, he's definitely a throwback. So I think more than anything, where he's affected my game is from the, mentality standpoint, is that's, just to bring it every single day. And, the best way to be a pro is, like I mentioned earlier, to be consistent and, just go after it every single day and, try to get W's.
Did you ever go on YouTube and show Beasley all the clips of Lambier getting in fights? You might have to do that.
But he told me how he won. He said it's not about how you win the fight; it's just winning it. Whether you gotta, go for the low blow. Whether he has all these tricks. He has one with the two hands around the throat that I can't mention, on air. But he's a funny guy when it comes to that stuff.
There's on YouTube now. There's like a 5-minute clip of Bad Boy Pistons fights, shoving matches.
4.5 minutes of Lambier.
Yeah. Well, there's one where I don't remember this from the 80s, but I didn't remember it until I saw the clip. But Lambier and McHale are just standing next to each other, like kind of waiting for the ball to come down court, and they start talking. And Lambier kind of turns around and shoves his chest in and gets all like bully tough on him. McHale, I don't know if you knew this about McHale, but nobody was more afraid to get in a fight than McHale. McHale backed down. But McHale was the classic. He would come in as soon as there were 5 other guys. That's when he would go after, whoever. But that was a different era. I mean, you had a thing last week with, what was it, or a couple days ago, Aaron Brooks threw a ball at you, and you were like, what the hell's going on?
No, that was laughable, though. I'm like, what? This is not going to be David versus Goliath here. I'm like, what is he thinking? And plus, the play was off of a rebound. I was laughing mostly because it was just, I looked at him, I was like, what, you never been hit in the face before? So, to me it was, I don't know what it was. That's why I was just like, what are you doing? If it was something else, he had came at me, or, a bigger dude had, came at me, I don't know what would have happened, but obviously, I love my money and I do not want to be fined for a fight. Plus, it's so touchy these days what, you can get fined for, so you just don't want to take it there.
True. They've done a nice job of raising the fines to the point that you guys are afraid to escalate anything now. Yeah. It's been one of the hallmarks of the Stern era. Plus, you have Beasley on your team. You don't want to get in a fight because Lord knows what would happen to him if there was any sort of a brawl.
Hey, don't sleep on the Serbians either, because Darko and Pekovic, they're I don't know. It might get ugly if they step into the fight too. I think if a team got into a fight with us, I would pick us to win, especially because we bring Lambier in. And
oh yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
and Rambis,
coaching staff with us too. Rambis, Rambis, you never know with Rambis. He's the type of guy that can come in and do the dirty work. So you gotta be skeptic of him.
So we're at the midway point of the season. I think you've played just about everybody now, right? Have you played every contender?
I think we've played just about every contender.
So who's the best team that you played so far?
I know you're gonna hate me for saying this, but I really like Orlando.
Wow.
I like Orlando for what they've added, and after the trade, because we played them before the trade and got stomped, and played them after the trade, and I thought they were even better. But once I mean, if Gilbert gets into a rhythm, they're going to be very, very tough to stop. But I also think Boston, out of the East, is, I think with Perkins back, if they have, their full roster set and their full roster healthy with, KG and Perkins and, Shaq gets back healthy, just with their size, all the way throughout, and obviously, Pierce, Rondo, and Allen, it's just it's a scary tandem that they have, and they're only going to get better with the unit that they have, and once they start playing together more this season with everybody healthy, they're only going to get more cohesive and better on the floor together. So that's going to be scary. But also I think a lot of people are calling out the Lakers too about their defense. I feel like if they're going to do that, there's going to be a lot of games like you saw last night against Utah. So I think at the end of the day, I feel like I'd like to see a rematch of last year, and I think that could very possibly happen. But I like San Antonio too. We have played them 4 times, and they just find a way to win.
You've had good games against them. I mean, not you. I mean, the whole team. Those games have been really entertaining.
Yeah, but with Duncan and Ginobili and Parker, I mean, they just find a way to win. Plus, they have Richard Jefferson, they have Antonio McDyess, Dwan Blair. I mean, all the way down the line, they're a very, very good team. So there's those teams that I think that are the 4 or 5 best teams in the league, and then you have Miami, who's up there. You have the Mavericks. You have potential sleepers like New York, but those
Chicago
are all very, very good teams.
You mentioned Orlando, and I agree they're better since the trade, but I still don't think defensively. I don't see them getting stops in the playoffs. It's really Howard is the only above-average defensive player they have. Do you think can you win a title just offensively?
I don't think so. I think you have to get stops. I think that's why you've seen. God, I hate talking about Boston though when I'm talking to you, but
I love
Boston, it. They just get stops. They find a way. KG's. Basically they're KG and Rondo, especially on the defensive end, are especially their leaders, and then they have so much firepower and so much they can do offensively that it's just tough to stop. And they have a coach in Doc Rivers who's right up there with the upper echelon of the league. So I mean they just find a way to get it done, and that's why you've seen them have so much success in the past 4 or 5 years.
Have you played the Cavs yet?
Yes, twice, both W's.
Have you played them like relatively recently?
We played them. We played them December 26th, so I guess you could say a month ago.
I mean it's got to be kind of shocking to go against that team post LeBron. Right.
It's unbelievable, and it's like the city is just—it's dead. I almost feel, I feel bad. I don't even know what to say. We played them, and it was just dead. I don't know what kind of happened to their team. They just need something to be energized. And I saw their loss to the Nets the other night, and it was all over SportsCenter, all over ESPN. I don't know how many that was straight, 17 straight, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's just.
Sad.
Got to give.
What about Rubio? What are you hearing? What did on your Facebook page? How often are you guys talking?
I don't know the talks about Rubio. I mean, I try to not pay too much attention to it, but I guess there was something publicized that came out yesterday that he doesn't know if he can play in the NBA because there's not enough fan support here in Minneapolis, or there's not. I don't know. I forget what it was. It's tough to come to a losing, after being with his team. And
yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. What's going to happen in the next year, especially with the CBA and the lockout, and as far as I don't even know what's going to happen with the draft. So as far as Rubio, coming over, I really hope he does. We do have a lot better fan support this year actually than last year, because I think fans in Minnesota can feel us right there.
Yeah.
But I really, after 2 years now, I don't know what's going to happen with Rubio. I think you got to ask David Kahn and Tony Ronzoni what's going to happen with that. But I think nobody really knows. Obviously, I'd love to see him in a Timberwolves jersey, but you just never know.
Or trade his rights and get you some help right away.
Hey.
Either way. I did this for you. I hung out with Con for like 10 minutes before the Knicks game that you played. I did it for our relationship. I didn't want it to be awkward when the con thing came up. So we were in a better place. We had a nice civil conversation. I actually kind of liked him. I thought he was.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He went to UCLA.
Yeah.
He wrote for the. He was up in. He still lives in Portland.
Right.
So I have a lot of ties to him, and he's a great guy. There's nothing.
Yeah, we have it the time.
Like, I don't see, where people go with that. I just don't,
Yeah.
So.
Well, my job's to stir up stuff. Got to do that.
Of course.
Got to keep people thinking.
That's everybody's job too. I mean, it's for good headlines and good press. Why not?
If there's a lockout, I want you to know that we do have a guest room if you need to stay here. Like if you're really short on cash.
We're in Malibu again with the wife that doesn't know too much about sports.
Malibu. No, we have a little guest room. You could stay right across from our daughter. You guys could make English muffins every morning and be good. I'm worried about you because. This is your third season. You only have 3 seasons of paychecks.
I'm on my rookie scale. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Plus, you have all your ladies you got to take care of. Like that money can disappear pretty quick. How have these 30 for 30 games that you've had and the 2020 games, all this stuff? How has that affected your situation with the ladies? Is it like why aren't you dating a Kardashian yet? What's going on there?
I'm not dating a Kardashian, but I am dating a UCLA former cheerleader. So I'm not, or dance team member, I should say. She'd be upset with me, or Spirit Squad member, I should say.
Is that a long-term relationship?
Yes, a long-term, long-distance relationship. Yes.
Oh no. God, I never had to talk with you about long-distance relationships.
Isn't it? Yes, it's rough, man. And plus, it's like it's like free agency. I have to draw her to Minneapolis where it's 20 below. It's tough. I got to give her all the things that are good about the franchise over here in the Kevin Love spectrum. So,
is she living in Minnesota, or do you guys you see each other like?
I don't want to say she's out in L.A. because I'll be worried about what you'll do with that. But, yeah, she's out in L.A.
Uh-oh. So this could be a really traumatic All-Star weekend for you.
Very, very traumatic. So
you got to keep the girlfriend happy, but all these girls at All-Star weekend, all the groupies are going to be like, there he is. That's the guy with the 30-30. Go get him. Put your number in his thing.
They'll be like, there's Blake Griffin, the Blake Show. Your guy, right? Season tickets.
That is my guy.
There's a sports guy holding his hand. Simmons.
I know. I don't know if you heard, but I dumped Durant for him. It's over.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
Do you think Blake needs a nickname, or is he just good enough being Blake? Because there hasn't really been a famous sports Blake yet. So you could get away with just calling him Blake. It does feel like it's got some weight to it, but people are really trying to push a nickname for him.
I don't know. People. Speaking of KD too. I mean, you talk about the Durantula thing. I don't.
Yeah. I don't like it.
People try too hard with the nicknames sometimes, but I think if you can be known around the league, I mean, it's tough sometimes with the name like Kevin. Like you can't be known because there's there's KG and there's there's Durant. There's a whole bunch of a lot of Kevins in the league, but there's not many Blakes. I mean, if you're known by like a LeBron or like a Dwayne Wade or something like that, it's if you're known by just Blake, I mean, that's respect in itself, known by just the first name. So. And
your nickname has basically become, people just say your entire name all the time. You're one of those guys. Nobody calls you Kevin. You're Kevin Love. It's said in one word lump. You know what I mean? Yes. You don't like that, or you like it?
Call me on my team they call me Spread Love, and people around town, they call me the Great White Hope, which I really laugh at. I think that is just hilarious. But
K-Love doesn't sound right. Sounds like a radio station.
That's like the T-Mac. I don't know what you call that. The T-Mac syndrome. Everybody wants to put the
acronym.
The first initial and then the last name all together, or hyphenate the last name, that sort of thing. I don't like that. K-Love is cool, but I don't know.
All right, my last question. So, this rebound thing's become, I have a chance to be the first 2015 guy since forever. I think it's like since Moses. I don't even remember who the last guy was. You're not counting the rebounds in your head, are you? You just look afterwards? How do you deal with that? Like, what happens if you have, 23? Does somebody tell you? Do you have a feeling, ooh, I have a lot of rebounds, I don't have, or are you just playing, you're not even thinking about it?
No, I mean, most of the time I try to play it and not think about it. I think it's tough to count rebounds. I think it's easier to, if you're like, oh, man, I've hit, this shot and that shot, to count, kind of your points, because you know how many times you've gone to the free throw line and what shots you've hit. But as far as rebounds go, I mean, there's times where you have tips, or you have controlled tips out to another player, or you grab a rebound and they call a foul, and you don't know if you got the rebound or not. So I think that's tough to count. But I think more than anything, if you just go out there and play, and you feel this. Most of the time for me, it's I know if I have close to 20 rebounds just because of how many I've grabbed per quarter. But Michael Jordan said it with his points. What if you can get 8 points a quarter? I mean, it's 32 points right there. So I mean, for me, it's like, all right, if I need to get to 15, that's 3.5, 4 a quarter. So I mean, that's not the hardest thing to do in the world if you look at it. Get 2 offensive, or get 1 offensive and 2, 3 defensive a quarter, and you play hard. I don't think it's the hardest thing in the world, but for me, I'm talking about it like it's simplistic, going up against those guys every single night. But it's not. It's tough.
I have one piece of advice for you. There's one person who sits at that press table in Minnesota who is the guy who determines whether it was your rebound or somebody else's. You got to start buttering that guy up. Find out who it is and just start leaving him gifts and stuff. Little gift certificates.
What's a great piece of advice from Bill Laimbeer is when a shot goes up at the end of a quarter, and obviously you have 3 quarters, to do it, because the end of the game, they're not going to count that one. But if a shot goes up and you catch it, or you get it off the rim, even when the clock expires, look at that guy and say, that was my rebound right there. you never know. That's probably, other than the mentality that I talked about earlier, he gave me that good piece of advice too. So I try to do that as well.
That was something Jerry Lucas was famous for. He would chase down the rebounds at the end of the quarter, and any missed foul shot, he would come flying in. Because it's pretty easy to get the defensive foul shot rebounds.
Right, those are the easiest ones. They pop right to you.
Yes, you can pat them by a couple rebounds a game. All right, Kevin Love, listen, if you don't make it, it's going to be good for you, because then I'll start the campaign. What a travesty it was. And
campaign the bandwagon.
Yeah, it'll be good. So either way, you're a winner. We will see you in Los Angeles. Good luck. I hope you make it. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Hopefully I didn't do too bad today.
No, as good as always. Talk to you soon.
All good. All right, later.
All right. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And last month on the BS Report with Mark Stein, the Oklahoma City team, that I won't say their last name, had signed Nick Collison to a very lucrative contract extension, which I promptly made fun of. I got this very elaborate email from an Oklahoma City fan pointing out that actually the extension was very smart, pointing out all these different big men, backups who play between 18 and 26 minutes a game, and their production and what they mean to the team. And then basically was like, take your head out of Kevin Durant's butt and watch some of the guys in the other team. You'll see what this guy does. So I watched him for the next, 2-3 weeks, and I realized when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I was wrong. And now he's in the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Nick Collison, how are you?
I'm good. And I don't want this to be awkward. I'm a fan of your podcast, a fan of your columns. I've read them for years. I'm going to give you a bye.
You give me a mulligan?
I actually read some of your book, too. And for a guy with a whole chapter on The Secret, I was just shocked that you would use statistics to describe why.
I know.
That was my only beef on it.
It's terrible. I have, all I could say is when I watch your team. Now, I've moved on to Blake Griffin this year. As you know, I've dumped Durant. Right. But when I watched your team in the past, I was so concentrated on Durant, I didn't even realize he had teammates.
Sorry.
But this year I've been concentrated now on some of the other guys. So, yeah, the stuff that you do, for whatever reason, just doesn't really translate to stats. Now, what's weird is that you were putting up points at Kansas, right?
Yeah. I was much more of a scorer in college, and then got to the NBA. My first year, I missed my entire first season. I had 2 shoulder surgeries, so I had one surgery in October and one in February, and each one of those was a 4 to 6 month recovery. So I missed the whole year. And then when I got back, I was just kind of trying to adjust to being out a year, and at the same time adjust to much bigger players, and it's much harder to score in the post. And just kind of went away from some of the stuff I did in college. Is I wish maybe it would have been different, but I kind of just found my niche, found my role. I played on a kind of perimeter-oriented team the first years in Seattle with Richard, Lewis, and Ray Allen, and Coach McMillan was great for us, but he kind of wanted us to set screens and rebound and do the dirty work. I played with my first training camp coming off double shoulder surgery. I had Reggie Evans, Danny Fortson, Vitaly Totopico, and Jerome James, so I got beat up pretty good. But yeah, I just kind of found my niche and kind of found that I can have some value doing other things than scoring, and I think it's allowed me to stick around for a while.
Yeah, your senior year in Kansas, 18.5 points a game. Pretty impressive. But as you said, roles change, things happen. You've had a really interesting career too, because as you said, you missed your first year. Then the second year, you're in Seattle, and that team just takes off. It becomes like a Hoosiers movie. And the ultimate sum of the parts doesn't match what the whole was, or whatever that quote is. And really connected with the city. And I thought after that season, there were some stadium issues, some ownership issues. Who knew what was going to happen? But it just seemed like if you watch those home games, the general takeaway that you had was, wow, these teams have great fans. There's no way they can lose this team. Now you're the only crossover guy. Durant was there for 1 year, but I mean you were there when the going was good. You actually got a feel for it. You've mentioned since then you took a little heat in Oklahoma City because you mentioned that you love Seattle and you still don't understand why that happened. Not a reflection of your feelings in Oklahoma City, just how you felt about the Seattle thing. Is it amazing to you that this city does not have a professional basketball team?
Yeah, it really is. I think the team is there for 41 years, so I think the city and the market has proven that it will support basketball. What happened with us is, other than that 1 year that you talked about, my rookie year, which we had a great year, the team struggled for almost a decade. And I think any city, if you're out, either, a couple playoff appearances, but mostly struggles for a decade, the support's going to dwindle a little. But I don't think that that's the problem. I don't think that's why the Sonics aren't in Seattle anymore. It was strictly a deal between the team and the city and politics and just the inability to get arena built. I think they remodeled Key Arena, and they probably didn't do it the correct way. They probably didn't have enough foresight to see where the arenas were going to be going in the future, and they did it kind of halfway. And then the city paid for Safeco Field, they paid for Quest Field, and they just weren't too excited about having to do it again. And things went quickly, and team's gone. And I mean, it's like the 13th biggest media market, so it just doesn't make sense for a lot of reasons.
And also a place that the other NBA players, it was one of the cities they really like going to, right? Or am I imagining that?
I think so. It depends on who you talk to. I think for the guys who are Xbox and the hotel guys, they probably didn't love it because it rained a lot or whatever. But guys that got out, I think, really liked it. I really enjoyed my time there. I still live there in the summers, and it's a great city. A lot of culture, a lot of cool neighborhoods, and I had a great time there for sure.
All right, so we have the Xbox and the hotel room guys. We have the cool, I've never been to the city, I want to explore what's going on guys. What other types of NBA players are there? They're all different breeds. You got guys from the different countries, European guys, which are a lot of them are very cool. I've had a lot of Vladimir Radmanovic, a good friend of mine, Nenad Kristic, a great guy. But it's a really cool. I tell people all the time, I got like one of the coolest jobs in the world because so many funny things happen, so many funny stories happen. I get to hang out with guys from all kinds of different walks of life, different cultures, different countries. It's pretty cool. Some of the stuff that happens in the NBA would never happen in any other 9-to-5 job. Like a fight at practice, a guy punches a guy, and practice just continues. How many times in the cubicle could you just go punch a coworker and not get arrested or fired? Or and fights don't happen a lot, but I mean it has happened. And just things like that. It's a lot of fun. And
how many adults get to work a nap into their day? Not very many, but we all do after shoot around. Everyone takes a nap. It's besides the point we're getting to play basketball, which we love, there's a lot of other cool things about it, fun things about it.
And you're encouraged to take a nap. It's not even like you get to take a nap.
Right.
Like they want you to take a nap.
Right.
Well,
like
then you talk. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, it's just a lot of downtime, a lot of movie watching, Netflix, keeping up on TV shows. I really get into a lot of TV shows and knock them out on the road trips, and it's pretty fun, pretty fortunate.
And you talk about the different backgrounds of guys. Like, for instance, where did you grow up? I forget.
I grew up in Iowa Falls, Iowa. Population 5,000.
I'm guessing you didn't have a lot in common with your childhood and Serge Ibaka.
No, exactly. I think, a lot of times there's these guys, and Kevin's from D.C., a lot of these guys are from big cities, and I would love for them to come to my hometown for the Riverbend Rally, the 4th of July festival, and just see what it's like. I think they'd be shocked. I think there's 4 stoplights in my town. We got a Walmart, we got a McDonald's, and that's about it. A Subway, I think, and a couple of gas stations. So it's definitely we come from different backgrounds for sure. And Krstić is, I can't remember what country. Serbia. Where's Westbrook from? He's from L.A. Yeah, it is crazy. Green's from L.A., Green's from D.C., mostly big city guys. And you guys are famously close compared to most NBA teams, and I think the guy that's putting your team together, Sam Presti, it seems like something that is extremely important to them. I went down and saw you guys play the end of December, and then caught a practice the next day, and I definitely got a sense for that. You've played on all types of teams. Obviously it's important, but it's not going to be the piece that pushes you over the edge, right? At some point, you're still going to have enough talent to actually win games in May and June. Yeah, I think so. I think, talent is still the most important thing. You got to have the right pieces. But I do think that there's something to the continuity and just the overall kind of feel that they want when you come into work and a culture that they want to create. And he really, Sam really puts a big emphasis on that. I really do think it helps. This is definitely the closest team I've been on, and the continuity of it helps. I mean, for a lot of those years with teams I was on, we had so much changeover. I had played for 5 coaches in 6 years or 7 years, and
wow.
A ton of different players coming in and out, and so it's just it's hard to pick up kind of the nuances of the game and the small things, the execution type things that good teams that are together a long time, San Antonio, now Boston for a few years, LA, they're able to pick up how to play together. I think that piece is very necessary too. You obviously can't win with subpar talent, but I do think that piece is really important, and it's just, I really do love the team. It's a lot of fun. There's not one person in the entire building that I don't like. I mean, from the coaches to the training staff, strength coaches, equipment manager. I mean, everybody's on board, and it's a fun group to be part of. And you're practicing in a converted roller rink. It's yeah. It's like it's across probably from a Purina dog food factory. Right, and what is it, at a certain point every day, you can smell the dog food being cooked? Yeah, when you come out, you can smell dog food, especially in the hot days in the beginning of the year, for sure. It's certainly not the most glamorous NBA situation, but I think it seems like Presti and those guys, they kind of like that. I think when you have a young team like this, you're probably better off being in a smaller city than, being in Los Angeles or New York or something like that. You agree with that? Yeah, I think so. I think there's, we don't have a lot of distractions. I think guys, as opposed to like other guys around the league, I don't know what their perception of Oklahoma City is, but I think, once you get here, once you get to the city, it becomes more about basketball, and I think that's a good thing for our team. And guys just, a lot of guys come in on off days. We have off days. Most of the team comes in, gets a workout in, and a lot of the guys, I'm a little bit of a different generation from most of these guys. I'm a little bit older, but the younger guys, it's like almost like an AU team. They're hanging out all the time. It's like college where, you hang out in college. We always hung out in the dorm. We went to parties together. We went out together. We went to dinner together. And it's kind of like that, for those guys. And we're all close, but, those younger guys, I think it's a really cool opportunity to come into the NBA and just have so many kind of peers your age. I mean, when I came in as a rookie, Luke Ridnour and I were rookies, but most of the guys were older and, some had families and stuff. So it was, everybody was fine and we had a good time, but it's not like this where those guys are just spending so much time together and, they kind of create their own fun together. So it's a good situation.
And the interesting wrinkle with this season, Durant comes into the season, he's coming off Team USA and just carried that team, especially the final couple games, and was clearly going to another level as a player when you tied in what happened last year. This season he starts out a little slow. Westbrook is at another level, and I don't know whether the Team USA did it or just he's figuring it out or what's going on. And I'm watching those games for the first 5-6 weeks thinking, I'm not even sure who the best guy on this team is right now. It's sorted itself out a little because Durant's playing a lot better, and it feels a little bit more like his team. But the weird part is that these guys are really close. Was that a weird transition for you guys that Westbrook, I'm not saying he's on that level, but he was definitely getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it was strange for us. I mean, we were just happy to, as players, we're just happy to be able to win games. And, Russell was playing so early, and we needed that. So we needed someone to step up and help us win. And I think as players, I don't think we're as into the storylines as much as everybody else is. We're kind of just immersed in it and trying to move on to the next game, trying to get wins. We struggled out of the gate, and so our concern wasn't with those types of questions. It was more of how do we get ourselves where we can get some wins. And we've been able to win a lot of games. I still don't think we're extremely happy with how we've been playing. We've been a little inconsistent. Defense hasn't been near as good, and we're trying to tighten that up a lot. We know that's where we need to get to, but it's really not much of a concern for us. I think we're all end of games. Either one of those guys, we're trying to get them the ball and let them make plays, and we're confident that they're going to do well. And Russell really end of games is just built for success because he's got so much athleticism and he can attack the basket. And I think always at the end of the game, if you're able to attack the basket instead of trying to rely on jump shots, you're going to be in better shape. You're able to get fouls. It breaks down box outs for offensive rebounds, and you can kick to other guys. So it's just it's a really good duo, and their attitudes are great. I don't think we really don't have a battle for alpha dog or anything like that on our team. It's both guys playing off each other.
I was a little worried about the wire because, as I tweeted, Durant was like Avon, and then all of a sudden Westbrook's like Stringer, and eventually those guys, Stringer ended up getting murdered.
Yeah, I see your point. I'd say Russell's attitude's a little more Avon. He's a little more fiery. But the timeline of those of one the other, I see what you're getting at. But
yeah,
no, it's really a non-issue. They've been good. They've grown up together, and I think we're just really trying to win and move on. So.
What happened to Durant, you think, that first month?
I don't know. I think he played okay. I just, we weren't. I think as a team we didn't play that well, and when we're like that, we kind of rely on him to have to take too many difficult shots. And he wasn't getting much out of the offense because we weren't really executing for him. We weren't defending real well, so he wasn't getting his transition buckets off turnovers, things like that. I think he played all right. I mean, I didn't really, like I said, it didn't really seem like, that storyline. It wasn't really like, it wasn't kind of on our minds. We just were trying to win games. I mean, he's still Kevin Nuss. He's still our number one option, and so that's kind of just how we feel about it.
Well, as you know, I watch a lot of your games. And as you said, you're not really playing that well, but yet, I think the Lakers game last week is a really good example. You didn't play well. But yet, you're in that game. You had the ball, you're down 4. And if you look at that box score after, I think the team was like 2 for 22 shooting threes. I felt like you're right there. So when you talked about, like, our defense isn't quite where we want it to be, I don't know what that little piece is, but it seems like it's fixable because you're in the vicinity of all. The only game recently that you really got killed in was that Spurs game. Other than that, you're in these games or you're winning them. So what needs to happen these last 4 months?
Well, we lost a tough one last night, New Orleans, but I really feel like we had a longer stretch of that kind of defensive swarming. We can see it on tape. I mean, we know when we got it, when we don't, and we had it for a long. Last night we had it for a much longer stretch than we had. Obviously, we lost the game, but if we can just get those stretches, we just need more consistency with those stretches and have it be longer. Like we're tired of talking about last year, but last year we were defensively we were on like that all the time, and we need to get back to where we're like that. Now, we've gotten by a lot of times on really raising our level in the fourth quarter and winning close games. And like you said, not that far away. I think there's something to be said for being able to win games too, and I think we've been able to do that. And believe me, I've been on teams that have played well most of the game and lost it at the end all the time. 20 and 62 seasons. So. We'll definitely take this over that, and I think we'll get there. And down the stretch, I think these 10 games before All-Star break are big for us. If we can make a push and go into All-Star break with kind of some momentum and get to where we kind of our new normal is kind of that swarming defense, reacting to the play and kind of being the aggressors on the defensive end, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, it feels like it's been like a slightly disappointing season, yet you're 28-16. You're tied for third in the loss column in the conference, only 3 behind the Lakers, and you really haven't had a hot streak yet. So when people are always like, who's going to come out of the West? I still feel like you guys are the sleeper because you're going to get better as it goes along. You've been in some of these losses that were pretty close where you didn't even play well. And then the Ibaka thing. We got to talk about him. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy's an amazing story. They pulled him off of some Congo playground when he was 16 and threw him on some team, and it's like he's still figuring out how to play, and he's playing crunch time for you guys. I don't know, where does this guy's career go?
It is a really interesting story. I think the thing I was impressed about him is when he came to camp, I assumed he was kind of going to be a raw athlete because I know he hadn't played organized basketball until he was like 16 or 17.
Yeah, 17.
But, I mean, he's really a smart player. I mean, he really has a good feel for the game. I mean, he's a good mid-range jump shooter. He has a good feel in the post. He has a good feel when he needs to rotate to help on defense. I think he's an incredibly smart guy, which helps. He's very bright. He knows 3 languages, I think, maybe 4. I think 4 languages. And I think he also was in a very good program, and he played in Spain in his EuroLeague team, so I think he learned a lot there. But, man, he's just an unbelievable athlete. I can't say enough good things about him. Just like I said, extremely smart, plays hard, and he's very serious about doing his work. I mean, he's in there all the time early. He works on his body like crazy. He's I don't know. He's just. I think the sky's the limit for him. There's some things that he'll get better at, and he needs to get better at. But he has. When you look at young guys, and you kind of look at whether they get it or not, and he definitely gets it. And he's definitely got the talent, and the tools. So I think I don't know. I don't want to put too much pressure on him or anything, or too many expectations. And he's got a way. He's still extremely young, but I think he can be great.
But he's definitely further ahead of where you thought he was going to be 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I had no idea what to expect, I guess. But I mean, when he came into camp last year, I remember telling somebody that if he was in this year's draft and people saw this camp, he'd be a top 3 pick, top 5 pick, no doubt. I mean, he's just with that size and ability to play and his feel for the game. He's a really good prospect.
I like him not just because he's a freak athletically, but as you said, he's smart, and you can see it. You can see, like, he makes smart decisions. He's not a guy that's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. And then the other thing is he's got a little edge to him. little bit of a badass edge, which especially for a young guy who doesn't have a ton of experience, he's one of those guys. Like he doesn't like being dunked on, all that stuff.
Yeah, he's extremely he's always right under the surface about ready to snap. It seems like in a good way. Like he's not in a crazy way, but I don't know much about his upbringing, but I assume a lot of that comes from where he's come from, and he's had to kind of fight and scratch for a lot of things in his life. You can tell by the way that he works and the way that he plays, and he's not going to back down from anybody. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I judge if you're really thinking about winning a title, and you got to judge things by looking at last year's Game 7 of the Celtics-Laker game, and just how physical and how hard fought that was. And then you just got to apply players from other teams and think, all right, who could have been thrown into that game and survived? I feel like Ibaka could have been thrown into that game, he would have been fine. Like he could have played at that level and that level of ferocity and not drowned, basically.
Yeah, and when you look at our league, there's very few big guys that are big enough, athletic enough, and have a good feel for the game and are tough. All those things. And I think he could be one of those guys. But there's not a lot of those guys walking around. Usually somebody's got a deficiency. Some sort. And no, he's not perfect. He's not a finished product. But I definitely agree with you that he could be a playoff championship level big for sure. You
can go to battle with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Lakers series last year kind of got glossed over. It was early on. Durant didn't play well. You didn't have the box out to clinch that game. I thought you guys were right there in that series, as amazing as that sounds. Did you guys even think about that at all, or did you just move on?
We felt like that whole series we were trying to win. We thought we could win that series. And especially, I think, Game 2 gave us a little more confidence. We played well in Game 2. We were right there. And we knew coming home we'd have a good shot at home. I think we just, we defended them well. The perception, I think, was we got beat up inside, but we did pretty well on the bigs inside, compared to how they score in deep posts against the rest of the league. Their average, I think we held them under their average in 5 out of 6 games. And, I thought, I just think we really fought and defended them well. Offensively we struggled. We really had a tough time scoring against them. We kind of just relied on Russell making plays and Kevin making individual plays. So I think we learned that we need to be a better executing team if we want to get where we want to go.
You have a tough time because of their length scoring, but on the flip side, you guys are so athletic that they have a tough time with you, which is what makes that matchup so interesting. You guys are much too fast for them. So it's almost like two teams that can't do what the other team can do type of matchup.
Well, I think with our team, execution is we're not like Boston, we're not like LA where we come down, we run a play, and we run through all 3 options, and we read how they're playing each screen, and we want to get there, but we're just not there yet. So we kind of rely on Russell playing in pick and roll and beating his man, and Kevin being more talented than his man, and hopefully, it's kind of continuity I talked about earlier. If we can keep that going, I think we can go to a place where we can do both. Guys can make individual plays, but then we can also rely on execution. That's where we're going to try to get to.
We're taping this on a Tuesday. You played last night, lost a heartbreaker to the Hornets. That's a team that executes in the half court as well as anybody because of Chris Paul. This hasn't been a big story for whatever reason, but it seems to me like he's playing on one leg or 1.5 legs, that doesn't have the same wheels that he had or whatever, and it's not mattering because he's so good. When you guys are going against him, do you feel like he's 100%?
You'd have to ask Chris, but I would say he's not coming off of pick and rolls, flying and creating much for himself, but it's almost more impressive the way he's able to do it, a little bit slower. I think he is maybe hurting a little bit with that knee. Because he's the way he uses his body, he gets into the lane, he plays at such a great pace and understands where the defender's at on his hip, and he knows he's got David West there, for a jump shot. He knows he's got Emeka ducking in, and he he's really good at just changing pace, changing speeds. But yeah, I mean, I don't. He doesn't quite seem like he's got the same burst coming off pick and roll. They're not running as many high. We call them angle screens, where they set it high and he's getting a head start, running start, and getting in the lane. They're more of the kind of side traditional pick and roll. But he's still tough, and he killed us last night. I made a bonehead play trying to hand off, but those are the type of plays he makes. That getting steals at the right time, and he hit 2 big threes down the stretch. So
yeah,
he still can play. I don't know where his health's at. I don't know if he, it could be one of those things that takes longer. Garnett seemed to take longer to get over his surgery, and he seems like he's back at a high level. So I wouldn't write him off yet. He's still a pretty good player.
You guys played the Bulls earlier this year. You lost in Chicago, but Rose had a bad game. What did you guys do to him?
Man, I just remember.
But you can't spill the secrets.
I just remember getting killed in that game.
Oh, you got killed by Boozer.
Yeah, Boozer lit us up. We try to keep him on the sideline. Try to make him shoot jump shots. He's capable of hitting jump shots, but.
Wait, let's go back to Boozer. What was Boozer doing?
Boozer,
is that somebody you have trouble with, or he just had a hot game?
I usually feel like I do okay. I usually have trouble with the taller guys, the Gasols and the guys that are super long. Even Darko, a guy like that's just physically taller than me. I have tougher times with those guys.
Darko, that little spin move, with the lefty jump hook.
Yeah, you just can't get to it. But I think Boozer, I don't know, they execute well for him. He's catching the ball too deep. A guy like that, you just got to make him catch it further out on the floor. And if you let him catch in the paint and stuff.
That's the team I'm afraid of. If they ever get all those guys healthy.
They don't even have Noah. They're 21-6 since December or whatever, and Noah's going to be playing.
Yeah. And Rose is playing at a really high level, and they have a good coach who knows the Celtics really well. As a Celtic fan, I'm afraid of that team. It's going to be quite a playoffs. Who's the best team that you have played this year? The team that you walked away and you said, wow, that team is really good.
Well, we beat Boston in Boston, but I think they're really tough, and it's kind of what I talked about. They just execute so well. They defend so well. You have to be able to move the ball against them because they load up and they help so well. If I had to pick a team, I would say them. Obviously LA is LA, and they'll get it going in the playoffs. And it's funny, every year it seems like people want to write them off, and they always get it together. And that size isn't going anywhere. Kobe's not going anywhere. He's still going to make plays, and they're still going to execute. So those two teams are tough, but. Yeah, Chicago's tough. We've already seen them twice, so, unless we meet them in the finals, we don't have to worry about them anymore. So, I don't know. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Boston. Boston's probably the toughest team we played.
Have you gone against Orlando?
We haven't played Miami yet, though.
Yeah, you haven't played Miami yet?
No, we played on Sunday for the first time.
And have you played Orlando since the trade?
Yeah, we beat them at home by 1, I think, the TNT game.
You don't have to guard Dwight Howard in those games, do you? You probably pass that up to Ibaka.
Yeah, sometimes. Usually the Orlando game, I don't get that many minutes because they play stretch floors. They like to have a little bigger body on Dwight. I've done, with him, you just have to try to stay between him and the basket. It's kind of like, it seems basic. It's kind of what they teach you in, 5th grade. But if you just stay between him and the basket and make him score, you're better off. But, no, he had 39 points against us, but he was 17 for 20 at the line, which is kind of rare for him. So he's going to hit free throws like that. He's a low for us.
Is there a big guy that you've gone against this year that you just felt like was much better than he was last year?
Honestly, I already mentioned his second Darko mention. We play him tomorrow, but he had a great game against us. He had 22. I think Kevin Love he's getting so much more. He's got so much more opportunity to just play. He's got total freedom. He's hitting threes and posting up and rebounding well. I don't know.
You said you don't know him.
No, I don't really know him. No, I've talked to him a couple times, but no, I don't really.
I thought there would be a white guy power forward Facebook group you guys were all on or something.
Yeah, there's kind of an interesting thing. We laugh about it sometimes. It's like you kind of always like say what's up to the white guys. Like, don't really know him. Like Jake Voskuil's like my best friend, but I've never really talked to him. Like like in the layup line. Like I don't know what it is, but I don't know. It's just I really haven't talked to Kevin Love much. I play with Red now, so I'll go to dinner with him tonight. But yeah.
How's he feeling about the T-Wolves?
I think he likes it. He's getting a chance to play. He's playing really well. I think obviously would like to be winning a little more, but Luke's a kind of underrated guy in my opinion. He's in pick and rolls. He's really good. If he can play up tempo and kind of play pick and rolls, he's tough. It's
funny how he always gets discounted, and he's always expected to play less minutes than he ends up playing. For whatever reason, he always ends up getting to that 25-30 minute mark.
He went to Milwaukee, and I think people thought he wouldn't play there because he's not a traditional defensive guy like Skiles likes, but I think Skiles loved him and played him a lot, and he was good for that team.
You have not played Blake Griffin yet?
No, I was out. We played him once, but I was injured.
Okay. Because he kind of stole my heart this year.
Right.
I don't know if you read about it, but Durant and I had a good 3 years. I have no regrets, but Blake's...
It's not you. It's not him. It's you.
No, it's nothing he did. I don't want him to feel bad about this at all. But just seeing Blake, it's great. So just make sure you stay away from being in one of his posters would be my advice.
Right. I usually, 2-on-1s. I might go, run to the passer and let him make the pass. I don't know.
Or do the fake trip. You're turning around and you lose your balance and you just go down. Where he'll get you, though, is in traffic when you're least expecting it. When there'll be like 4 people around and all of a sudden he's just trying to jump up over everybody. But
he's definitely... It's almost like when Vince Carter came in the league, how you kind of rush to watch SportsCenter. You want to see what happened tonight. It's good for the league, for sure.
Are you watching these games like on a laptop or anything? Catching up? Like, are you hitting SportsCenter every night? Do you follow the league, or are you just all about your team?
I'll watch occasionally. I got League Pass. If I'm at home, I'll watch. I kind of rely on scouting reports for the teams we're going to play, and sometimes I do get a little burnout watching, so I want to kind of do something else, watch something else. But I'll check teams out, check out guys that I played with, friends of mine in the league. I'll watch, see how they're doing. Like my man Kirk Heinrich, he's got my college roommate. He's got to wear glasses the rest of his career, so I'll give him a hard time about that.
Is that true?
From an injury we had in college. I remember we played Ohio State, and he was bringing the ball down the court. He went to make a pass, got poked in the eye, covered his eye with his hand, made the pass for a dunk, and kept playing. And then after the game, it was like Christmas break, so we went home for 3 or 4 days. Came back, played, never thought twice about it, and was getting his driver's license and was doing an eye exam, and they noticed he had a little spot that he couldn't see. And they took pictures of it, and he's got a detached retina that he's had for 10.5 years they didn't know about. So
wow.
He's got to wear the glasses. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. But all those physicals he's taken and missed it, draft physicals, all that. Now he's got to, if he gets hit again, there's a risk of him losing his vision, so he's got to wear the glasses.
That sucks. It's too bad he got traded because they traded him because they were trying to create enough cap space to get 2 guys. But the irony is they actually need somebody like him.
Right.
The typical third guy. Everything that he did for them last year is still what they need, and now they don't have him because, like everybody else, they cleared the decks. But what is it with the Kansas guys seem like unnaturally close? Like even like from the Pierce generation and the Rafe LaFrentz generation with your generation and then the new guys, what is it about the whole Kansas thing?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit similar to what we were talking about in Oklahoma City where, well, at least we play for Roy Williams, but I know I can't really speak for Bill Self. He's a great guy. He's awesome to me. I just don't know him as well. I didn't play for him. But with Roy Williams, I think he always tried to put his teams together like that with an idea of guys that he thought would be good guys that would get along with other guys that would kind of fit. And I think maybe that's why, because we had a close-knit group in college, and then, as we've gone to to the NBA, and I got a lot of guys I'm still close to that aren't in the league, guys playing overseas, stuff like that, and we had a good time in college. It's just probably like you and your Holy Cross buddies. You had a good time, and you stay close.
But, like, if you see Pierce, you guys didn't play together. Did you overlap for 1 year?
No, I never played with Paul.
But if you saw Pierce, you still have that Kansas connection, even though you never played together.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul, because Paul comes back, or he's been back when I was there, and so I got to know him. And, Jock Bond lived in Lawrence, so he was there all the time, playing pickup in the summer. And
do I need to go see a game there? Because I'm always told that I need to go see a game and write a column about it. Yeah, you absolutely do. It's amazing. It's a really unique place. It's so old. Will played there. It's bleachers, so they sell seat for each seat on the bleachers. I don't think you could ever build it with the fire code now and have that many seats in a small building. But it's 16,300, and the building's not that big. And fans are great. They camp out. If we're playing Missouri on Sunday, they'll be in line camping out, on Wednesday, Thursday, and it's a special place. And now they build up around it. They got the Hall of Fame. They build up around it, which is really cool. And man, to me, I know I'm biased, but it's got to be the best place to watch a game. And if you got a chance to go, you should go. Make sure it's like a Texas game, Missouri game, or something. So it'll definitely be. I'm in. I want to do that. I like watching that Maurice Morris. Yeah, he's really skilled. He's come along. He I didn't know, I think he'll be good in the NBA. I don't know how big he is, but he's got a mid-range game. He can shoot it. He can play inside. He's come along. I like their team. Yeah, I'm starting to get, now that football is winding to a close, this is when I try to catch up on the entire college basketball year, just by watching the different, but he's one of the guys that jumped out. All right, so Nick Collison, you're stuck in a Minnesota hotel room. It's probably like, what, minus 10? Minus 8? Not that bad. I think it's about 10. Not minus 10. I hope this was the highlight of your day, or at least in the top 3. We'll see how the rest of the day goes. What's going to happen for you now? You're in Minnesota. What are you going to do? Probably, I don't know, take a nap. Go to the mall? Maybe. Nothing fits me at the mall. It's frustrating. Movie? Probably go to the movie. I still haven't seen The Fighter. I want to see that. I might check that out. Have you seen it? Fighter's good. I would recommend seeing it. I don't think the guy should have gotten Best Director over the guy who did Inception, but it was good. Okay. Other than that. Well, you have the option. There's probably a whole video game marathon going on in somebody's room, right? Yeah, but I really gave up on video games. Oh no! RBI baseball. That's more my era. Tecmo Bowl, Super Tecmo, RBI baseball. Right. Like Nintendo, like the original Nintendo. I kind of gave up on the video game. Oh. Well, how are you going to spend time with these guys then? This is all they do. I know. I got to come up with something else. When I met Durant, I told him that I wanted to be the first writer to absolutely kick his ass in Madden. And he just he was in shock that somebody would say that to him. And I was like, listen, I've been doing this since before you were born. I'm not afraid of you, Kevin Durant. And at some point it's going to happen. Nick Collison, thanks for coming on. Congratulations on the gigantic contract extension. You haven't spent all your money yet, have you? No. Okay, I'm pretty. I got 50 years to spend that, so I can't burn it all now. It would be hard to buy a house that would be do they even have $1 million houses in Oklahoma City? I think they have a couple, but it's definitely a different housing market than where I was in Seattle for sure. All right, cool. Thanks for coming on. Good luck with the rest of the season. All right, thanks a lot.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at PodCenter at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.